Welcome, Wednesday yoga. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going your way. Welcome. Okay, so we're going to get started on our backs. And today, I really want this to be an opportunity to get in touch with where we might be holding a little bit of tightness, tension, stress. It's all the same stuff. We all have it. And we're just going to be very mindful. So awareness is one thing. Mindful is that you actually care and you stay right present in the moment with whatever's going on. And remember, this class is for you. I have no idea how your body feels, so I want you to make sure that you're taking care and that you listen to what your body is telling you. Strain is one thing, and yeah, there might be a little bit of strain, but pain is a whole other thing. Good morning. And let's get started. So come on down onto your backs and just draw your knees for a moment in towards your chest. Nothing tight, nothing hard. Just bringing your knees in, one hand on top of each shin. And when I say shin, I'm thinking also of chin, because when we're lying on our backs, perhaps you could tuck your chin in towards the notch in your neck, in your throat. Okay, that lengthens the back of your neck nicely. And then just some gentle rocking from side to side, maybe small circles. Whatever seems to feel good here, just to warm up the muscles in the lower back. The lumbar area for a lot of people is a bugaboo. And of course, talking about posture, which we will be, is key to keeping your spine happy, looking youthful. Okay, and then with your knees bent, you're going to place the soles of your feet on the outsides of your mat. You're just going to take your arms out to the side. You maybe lift your shoulder blades up and tuck them under your heart center. And then once again, adjust so your chin is pointing towards the notch in your neck. Arms are just nice and light out at the side, shoulder height. Your feet are on the edges of your mat. They're flat on the floor. Maybe a couple of your toes are off the mat. And just breathe here. Breathing in, of course, and breathing out. Breathing in, your belly should be rising. We're going to check in with this later. And on an exhale, just gently drop both knees over to the left. You're not forcing anything, you're just allowing, you're dropping. Yeah, you're going to feel a stretch along your IT band. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, drop both knees over to the other side. And you might notice a little difference from one side to the other. Just notice mindfully. Inhaling, coming back to the center, gently warming up through the lower back and the hips. Exhaling over to the left. Let it all out. Inhale, fill up with oxygen. Exhale, both knees over to the right one last time. Inhaling, back to the center. And one more time, we're just going to add a variation here. So lowering both knees back over to the left side. You're going to pick up your left foot, so the outer knee. You're going to place that left ankle on top of your right knee. Now, that intensifies the stretch on your outer right thigh, your iliotibial band. Most of you know that that band stretches from your knee to your hip, or your hip to your knee. Now we're stretching the fascia. So the IT band is fascia, and your entire muscular structure is encased in a fascia. If you're still eating meat, which I know many of you are, that's cool. But you might notice sometimes there is that sort of white casing over meat. And on our bodies, when the fascia is tight, it's really difficult for the muscles to kind of stretch out as much as they can, and your breath will help relax every joint, muscle, organ, and gland in your body. And then releasing that foot back to the floor, let's slowly bring both knees back to the center. Your feet are still on the outer edges of your mat. Exhale, dropping both knees over to the right. And now lift up your right foot and place your right ankle on top of that left knee. But if it's uncomfortable, just remove it and place the foot back on the floor. Good deep inhaling and exhaling. Breathing in through your nose. If you're not plugged, this cleanses, warms, and humidifies the breath, the oxygen going into your lungs. Exhaling fully. One more breath in. Exhale, releasing that foot back to the floor and bring your knees back to the center. Walk your feet in towards one another now so that your heels are aligned with your sits bones. And then bring your hands and arms beside your body and place your palms flat on the floor. You may want to bring your heels, if possible, just a little bit closer in towards your sits bones. Once again, let's lift the shoulder blades up and tuck them under your heart center and bring your chin towards the center of your chest. So feel a nice elongation through the spine, an opening in the front lower abs and the hips. And on an exhale, let's press the small of the back into the floor. Exhaling. Now you're going to continue to inhale, but I want you to keep your abdominal muscles, your core, engaged. So you're pressing the small of your back towards the floor. It's not a hard press into the floor. If you feel like you want to press it hard, that's fine. But really, we just want to press it towards the floor. You want to feel your lower abdominal muscles contracting, being activated. A strong core is key to posture. A weak core, tough to stand up straight or sit down and hold your spine in an ergonomically correct position. And now do press the small of your back into the floor. You're going to start to release those abdominal muscles a little bit. And then you're peeling your spine off the floor, coming up into bridge. So keep your glutes activated, your butt muscles. You're working the fronts and the backs of your thighs. Keep your arms beside your body with your palms facing down, holding this position and breathing. So a nice little throat lock. You know, when we have issues in our throat, extra mucus, coughing, etc., sometimes a good way to help purge whatever energy is stuck there is to do a chin lock. So it's also called a bandha. Locks in yoga are called bandhas. It doesn't matter if you remember this term or you don't remember it, but this locking can hold and stop the energy flow right at the place where it needs to be, getting extra blood supply, extra energy into the throat area. So this is also called an inversion, of just a mild inversion, getting the heart just a little bit higher than the head, and then slowly starting from the top of your vertebra, release your torso back down onto the mat. Draw your right knee into your chest and interlock your fingers just around the kneecap. You could straighten the other leg on the floor if that feels okay. And then I'd like you to mobilize your ankle joints by pointing the right foot, so the bent leg foot, and flexing. Point, flex, point and flex. Rotate, making circles at the ankle. Change the direction. And then placing your left hand on the outside of your right knee, so opposite hand to opposite knee. You're taking that knee across your body, extending, if it feels okay, your right arm out to the right side. So your right knee is to the left, your right arm is to the right, and maybe you would like to turn your head also to the right. Now you're feeling this stretch, maybe not as much in the IT band, but more in the glutes. Strongest muscle in the body, in our butts. So you've got 3, your gluteus minimus, medius, and maximus, but feel that stretch, breathe into it, maintain a little bit of pressure with your left hand. Now, if you're not feeling much, you can pull your knee up towards the shoulder, but please, like you're tuning a beautiful Stradivarius violin, not too tight, not too hard, not too much. But breathe into the area you're stretching. Breathe into the area where you feel tightness, tension, and perhaps notice it letting go. In fact, you can ask muscles to relax. Maybe you're feeling it through your pectoral muscles, the shoulder area. And then inhale, come back to the center, draw that right knee in, bring the left knee up, extend your right leg down in front, and then interlocking your fingers around your left kneecap. Let's work the left ankle by pointing the foot, flexing, point and flex, point and flex, and rotate, making circles. So this lubricates the joints in the ankle, and change the direction. I've said it many times, we take our cars to mechanics to have them tuned up. Yoga is a tune-up that you do yourself. And then place your right hand on the outside of that left knee. Carefully, mindfully draw it across your body, maybe extending your left hand out to the left side, and perhaps turning your head to the left side as well. So left arm is out to left side, but the left knee is taking over to the right. And again, applying a modicum of pressure so you really get into those glutes. I mean, before we do any real exercise, it's a good idea to warm up the muscles. Moving slowly is something that I practice with yoga. There are no surprises for the body. It's safer. And you get to pay attention. When we move too quickly, sometimes we move through something that doesn't quite feel right, but you went so quick you didn't even notice, and then you make another move, and then it's like, crack. Breathing. Again, applying a little bit of pressure as the glutes release, relax as you let go of tension, stress. The body is a repository for a lot of stuff that we don't process. And stress is undermining our health probably more than anything else that we do. So by not taking care of or spending a little bit of time examining our feelings before we trust them, thinking about what we might be projecting rather than owning, and just taking responsibility for. I like to talk about the idea that responsibility is the ability to respond, but responding to ourselves first about what's going on. And then come back into the center, and we're going to do one more for the lower back. So draw both knees in towards one another. Keep your knees, thighs, inner foot glued together. Arms are out to the side, shoulder height. Here's where you want to press the small of your back into the floor once again. And you really want to get your core engaged. That's why we move slowly. Your muscles have to work a little bit harder when you're moving slowly through some of these movements. So keeping your knees and thighs right angles. So your ankles and your calves are right angles to your thigh. Your thigh is at right angle to your core. And inhaling in place, keeping the lower back pulled into the floor. So you're engaging the core. Exhale, keep your knees and thighs together. Release both of them over to the left. Your thighs and your knees and your feet are glued together. They may not go all the way down. That's just fine. You're pressing the opposite shoulder towards the floor, but just go as far as you're able. And then slowly bring your knees back to center. The slower you go, the more you're engaging your core muscles. Once you're back at the center, exhale, both knees over to the other side. So now you're pressing the opposite shoulder towards the floor. This is a nice stretch through the shoulders, rotator, cuff, tendons, and muscles are starting to wake up. Inhale, come back to the center. And one more time, slowly, both knees, they're glued together, they're not coming apart, they're over to the left, perhaps your head to the right. Breathing all the time. You might notice you went a little bit further this time. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale, slowly, last time, over to the other side. Again, notice, did you get a little bit further than the first time? Inhale, come back to the center. And then, just for the heck of it, let's do a happy baby pose. So, you're going to bring your arms inside of your legs. You're going to try to take hold of your insteps. If that's not accessible, how about your big toes? Can you take your peace fingers and wrap them around your big toes? If you're able to grab your insteps, cool. If the big toes aren't even accessible because you have extra long legs, how about your ankles? So take what you can. That's what we do in life. We take what we can. And then slowly try to bring your ankles directly over your knees. Your knees are just grazing the outside of your rib cage. And you're breathing. Now, every time we draw our thighs in towards our torso, this is an opportunity to stimulate what might be lingering in the lower intestine. So on the right side, we have our ascending colon, we have our transverse that goes over to the left side, and the left colon left side. So you're pulling down whatever you can, you're breathing, and that will do. So that's a great stretch for your hamstrings. Now, you can place your hands underneath the backs of your thighs, so just underneath it, behind the knees. We can either rock up to a seated position, or you can roll over onto your side and come up. And then come on over. Take a sip of water anytime you need to. Curl your toes under. This is everybody's favorite. Just give your toes a stretch. I know what it feels like. You know what? Instead of, and I talk about this stretches your plantar fascia, all the fascia on the bottom of your foot, so that when we walk, we have a spring in our step. We're not like the people who live above me. Ugh. Okay, and then roll back. If hanging over creates some dizziness or something, you can place your hands on the front of your shins, but if you're okay just hanging upside down for just a moment, letting your head hang, relax your neck, give your head a little bit of a swing. But as I said, if you feel any dizziness, just take your time. You can place your hands, come halfway up. But this is called the lazy man's traction. This stretches out your lower back. Relax your head, relax your neck. Now feel the soles of your feet firmly planted into the floor. Arms are hanging beside your body. We are going to slowly roll up to standing, one vertebra at a time, with your head being the last thing to come up. Okay, and then inhale, shoulders up, exhale, pull them back. So before we do a little bit of shoulder and arm work, I just want to remind everybody about good posture, okay? So eyes should be fixed on an imaginary horizon straight ahead. You should feel a little bit of a pull, imaginary pull, of course, that the crown of your head is going up. You also want to bring your chin back so that it lines up with your sternum. It might create a little bit of a double chin, but nobody can see that. There's no mirrors in here. Okay, and then pull your armpits down, lift up at your sternum so you feel some length between your sternum, your chest, and your pelvic floor. Arms are by your side. Turn your palms out for a moment. So that just rotates, externally rotates the shoulders. Our shoulders are rounded and hunched pretty much all day because we're doing stuff with our hands in front. You can release your hands. And now the other thing I want you to do is lift your toes off the floor. And I want you to feel your big toe mount, your baby toe mount, and the center front of your heel pressing into the floor, and then lower them. So now you're really rooted and grounded. Eyes can be opened or closed, but if they were open, you'd be looking at an imaginary horizon. Now, you can, if you want to, just for a moment, again, you close your eyes if you like, but feel your core engaged. So let's just slump for a minute. Nothing's going on here. Just by standing up straight, you're engaging your core, or sitting up straight. Okay, if anybody has issues with dizziness, I've put some chairs out because we are going to do a couple of neck rolls. So if you feel that way, just, there are chairs around the room. So standing up tall. Inhale, lifting your head with the imaginary string being pulled up through the center. Exhale, drop your chin towards your chest. Bring your chin over towards your right shoulder, then your ear, and then gently let your head, you're doing this very slowly, rolling back. And then your opposite ear to the shoulder, probably eyes closed is best. And the chin back down to the center. Let's do it one more time. Slowly inhale, chin towards shoulder, then ear. So obviously we're stretching out major neck muscles here. The trapezius, sternocleidomastoid. These are the muscles that can get really tight and for some people create headaches. Okay, stop in the center with your chin towards your chest and let's rotate other way. Slowly. Chin, the ear to the shoulder. Exhale back. And to the other shoulder. And one more time. Slow. Very slow. Feel the muscles. So when you're off to the side, that's your trapezius. It's like a fan muscle. Attaches to the bottom of your skull, all along the shoulder. In fact, when you see somebody who's really muscle bound, sometimes their traps are up around their ears. They may not be stretching enough. And then bring your head back to the center. And just breathe for a moment. Engage your thighs, lifting up on your kneecaps. Feel your feet solidly rooted through the ground. And now, just to warm up the rotator. There's 4 rotator cuff muscles, and I'm not going to go through the names but many of you know them. Now, option is to place your hands on your back. Now, if that's too much for your shoulders, then put your backs of your hands, okay? That'll be a little less pressure. And then what we're going to try and do is take the elbows back and bring them back to neutral. Take them back. So there's 4 major, the tendons of these 4 muscles around the rotator cuff. This is what we're stretching right now. All those tendons. I know some people have had very successful surgery. My sister is a huge racquetball player, and she had successful surgery, but you know, it was 3 weeks of constipation, doing pills, because the drugs are so intense for these surgeries. But if we take care, we can hopefully avoid all the things. Okay, and relax your muscles. Bless you. Okay, take your arms out to the side now and turn your palms up and take the arms back, making little circles. And change the direction by bringing your thumbs forward, palms down, little circles. Little circles, little, little, little. And then take them back, turn your palms up again, your thumbs are facing backwards, and a little bit bigger. And then thumbs forward and a little bit bigger. And that will do. Give them a good shake out. Okay, bring your feet a little bit closer together. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, interlock your fingers, bring your arms right beside your ears, axial extension. Now lift your toes off the floor again. You want to feel really rooted and grounded through that big toe mount, the little toe mount, and the center front of your heel. Inhale, reaching up. Let's exhale to the left. Exhale to the left. Keep the length in your body. Inhale, center. Exhale, keep the length in your body. Sideways the other way. So some people will do this and you don't keep the length. We want that length. Inhale, reaching up. Now, drop your head back. Bring your arms beside your ears. Release your hands. Slowly swan dive. Bringing your fingertips to the floor, you're going to keep your legs straight, but if that's not accessible today, you're going to bend your knees. You're going to inhale, come halfway up. Lengthen your spine. Place your hands on the front of your shins. Exhale, releasing down, and then bend your knees as if you were going to sit in a chair. Inhale, sweep the arms forward, horseman's pose. So most of the weight is in your heels. Look down, see your toes in front of your knees if possible. Shh. Exhale, forward fold. Let your head hang. Inhale, come halfway up. Place your hands on your shins. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your legs. Again, one more horseman's, Utkatasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. So you're reaching, your palms are facing either one another, or facing the floor, but it opens up your shoulders if your palms face one another as opposed to your palms facing the floor. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Exhale, forward fold. Come on down onto your knees now. Remember to take a sip of water at any point. Okay, come on down onto your backs. Onto your tummies. Oh, okay. Slide your elbows directly underneath your shoulders. Forearms straight out in front, Sphinx pose. So reversing the movement now in the lower back And then draw your heart center forward, letting your upper back curve. Your eyes can be open or closed. If you like, you can float them up towards your third eye, Ajna Chakra. Breathing, lifting, opening. So when we lie on our tummies, this has a very positive effect on digestion. So constipation can be an issue, of course, for some of us, eating the wrong foods, wrong combinations, or perhaps just being stressed out. So this pressure on the belly is excellent for helping to normalize digestion, obviously not right after you eat. Also good for lowering your blood pressure, extension through the spine, opening of the heart. Now, one more breath in to lengthen. Nothing moves except just gently let your head fall between your shoulders. Let the weight of your head stretch out the back of your neck. So most of our heads weigh somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds. You can do a little bit of gentle swinging. Feel the stretch through the back of the neck, those neck muscles. We're not holding our head, we're just letting it go. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, come on down. Now, take your right arm and fold it in front of your body, your left arm beside your body. On an inhale, you're going to lift your left leg, your head, right leg stays on the floor, lengthening through the crown. So now we're activating all the muscles in the back of the body. We don't really check ourselves out from the back, and we don't work our backs as much as we work our fronts. This definitely works the back muscles, lengthening and strengthening, and of course, activating the heart muscle. One more breath in, lifting the leg, whatever you can, but lengthening. Lengthen as you lift, exhale, and lower back down. Let's change, bend the left arm in front of the body and bring the right arm beside the right side of the body. On an inhale, you're going to lengthen and then lift the right leg, lift your head, and breathe. So it's kind of a modified Salabhasana, locust pose. All back bends are cardiovascularly demanding. One more breath in, lengthen, lift, exhale. Come on, all the way down. Take your arms now out to the side, shoulder height. You can lower your forehead onto the floor. Kind of scooch your legs down, and then let's lift the left leg up, bend at the knee, roll over onto your right hip, and try to tap the floor with that left toe. Bring it back up, over, and back down. Inhale, reach the other leg up, bend at the knee, roll over onto the opposite hip. Maybe tap the floor, maybe not. Inhale, back up and over. One more time. Lift that left leg up, bend it at the knee, stretching the front of the thigh. Tap the floor. You might notice the second time's a little bit easier, a little more flexibility. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, lift your right leg up, bend at the knee, tap the floor, or imagine you might be tapping the floor, but feel that stretch through the lower back. Inhale. exhale, come back up and over. And now I want you to take a moment in Makrasana, crocodile pose. So basically, you are going to fold your elbows in front, okay? And you're going to lift yourself up enough that you can just lower your forehead onto your forearms. And just try to relax here. So Makrasana doesn't look like you're doing much. You're doing a lot. As I mentioned, you're lowering your blood pressure. You're improving your digestion. Obviously, you're relaxing the body. And back bends can be very helpful with slipped discs. Obviously, if it's really slipped, you're going to see a medical doctor. So just breathe, nice and gentle. And then let's press up, coming on to all fours. So if you do need a cushion for your knees, they are on the table, or you can double your mat over to protect your knees if you need it. Placing your hands on the mat with your middle finger pointing forward. Thumbs are loosely pointing towards one another. Your fingers are spread wide apart. Your knees should be underneath your hips. On an exhale, round your spine, drop your tail, tuck your chin, pull your bellies in. On an inhale, curl your toes under, lift your tail, hollow out your lower back, draw your heart centers forward, eyes rolling up towards your third eye. Exhale, cat. Inhale, curl your toes under, stretching out your soles of your feet, drawing your heart center forward, rounding, lifting, and lengthening. Exhale, pull your bellies in, tuck your chin, drop your tail, press all 10 fingers into the mat here, and curl your toes under. Hollow out your lower back. Draw your heart center forward, lengthen through your upper back. Coming back to neutral, bird dog. Extend your right leg straight out behind you. Lift the opposite arm, strengthening your core. And of course, improving on balance. That's a big deal. I mentioned before we started today that it's National Seniors Day today. Yay. Yeah, right. Free ice cream. Not. I don't know. What would we want? Lengthen and stretch and release. Let's take the opposite leg, opposite arm. So your neck is in line with your spine. You're reaching and stretching through the arm, through the leg, called bird dog. Improving balance. And strengthening the core, as well as your appendages. Eyes are looking down at the mat. Neck aligned with spine. If you feel a little wobbly, you're using plenty of little tiny proprioceptor muscles. And return. Okay. Curl your toes under. Lift your hips up. Come into a soft dog. Let's straighten one leg. bending the other, and change. Straighten the other leg and bend the other one. Relax your neck here and change. And let's change again. You might feel some tightness in the calf. Just notice. And let's do this one more time. For people who play racket sports, and even if you don't, stretching the Achilles tendon is just so key because there's no surgery and nothing you can do when you tear your Achilles tendon. But stretching it keeps it healthier. And one more time, changing. And then walk your feet towards your hands. Keep your knees soft. Let your upper body hang. And let's slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Let your head be the last thing to come up. And let's bring the shoulders up to the ears. Bring your arms behind your back. Squeeze those shoulder blades together, lifting your hearts, smiling. And then take your feet a little bit wider apart. Soften your knees a lot. Look up at the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Lead with your hearts. Bringing the arms up and over behind your backs. And release the arms. And then slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Your head is the last thing to come up. We'll do a few half sun salutations. Don't forget to drink water when you need to or can, and a little bit of sip. Okay, so starting with your feet about hip width apart. That means your ankles. I know these pants make my legs look like they're all crooked, but I wouldn't know that except I look at the odd video and I'm like, what? My legs look like they're like this. Okay, so lifting your toes off the floor. This is so important. Just when we're standing, even chatting to somebody, we should be aware of how we're standing. Lifting up in the sternum, shoulders back. Okay, half sun salutations. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Turn the palms out, bend your knees and swan dive onto your thighs, fingertips tenting the floor. On an inhale, lift your hips up, let the crown of your head float down. Feel the stretch in the backs of your legs. Give your head a shake, please don't hold it. Exhale, drop your hips, shoulders back, long spine. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up. Exhale, float the arms down, taking up lots of space, but feel really rooted and grounded through your feet. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, bend your knees, swan dive onto your thighs. You've got to drop your hips. Feel your belly on your thighs, fingertips tented on the floor, just in front of and outside of your feet. Inhale. Stretching the backs of your legs, lengthening your spine, letting your head fall off that spine, dropping. Exhale, drop your hips, bend your knees a lot. This tuck position is really important for strengthening your legs. Inhale, sweep the arms up and keeping your hips limber. Exhale, float the arms down, taking up lots of space. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees a lot. Fingertips tented on the floor. On an inhale, lift your hips, let the crown of your head float down. Exhale, bend your knees, drop your hips. Press your shoulders back before you come up. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up. Exhale, float your arms down one more time. Inhale. Exhale. So really coming into a big tuck position. Think about those skiers before they start their journey down the hill. And inhale, lift your hips up. Let the crown of your head float down. Exhale, drop your hips. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, float your arms down, taking up lots of space. Now, you have socks on. It's probably a good idea to remove them at this point, unless they're sticky, because I don't want you to slip on your mats. Come on up to the fronts of your mats. And we'll just do some of the really basic, excellent standing postures or asanas. Stepping your right foot back one leg length. Your front foot 90 degrees forward, your back foot about 60 degrees, and the heel of your front foot creates a straight line through the arch of your back foot. And that's in line with the rest of your mat. So bring your front foot more towards the arch of your foot. You got it. Okay, now we're only going to bend the front leg. When you bend your front leg, don't let your torso go with you. Keep your torso right in the center, okay? So bend your front knee. Your back leg's going to be straight. You're going to straighten your back leg. Straighten that back leg if it's bent. Now, how we know we're going to be in great alignment here is press in the outside of your back foot, okay? That helps to activate. Nice, Gil. Good correction. And then you want to be able to see your big toe inside of your front knee because it loves to just sort of collapse and hang out. Lift your sternum. So you're pressing into the outside of your back foot. And you're pressing perhaps into the outside of your front foot. Inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, lower your shoulders. Lengthen your neck and fix your gaze over your front left fingers. Feel that stretch originate from between your shoulder blades. Feel your inner thigh adductor muscles staying active. That's key to maintaining proper alignment in Warrior Two. Pretty much any of the warrior postures. And then lower your back arm down your back leg and reach up. So the energy goes up. You're reaching and you're stretching and breathing. So feel your toes touching the mat, but be sure you're still pressing into the outside of your back foot and the baby toe mount, in particular of your front foot. And then coming back into Warrior Two. Now lower your front forearm onto your front thigh. Now your torso is going to come forward. Your back arm, so keep your back leg straight if you can, and lower your forearm onto your front thigh. Take your back arm and sweep it all the way around in front and bring it over your ear. This is a nice, safe way, especially if you've had shoulder injuries. So your back arm is going to be over your ear. Your front arm will be on your front thigh. Your back arm comes over your ear. Reaching and stretching. Now feel the stretch through the rib cage. Through your latissimus dorsi, your really strong back muscles. On an inhale, we're going to straighten the front leg and we're going to reach both arms, the front one up. So the top arm goes up and the other one goes down. You're coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Now visualize that your top shoulder is stacked over your bottom shoulder. And then inhale, bend your front knee, come back into Warrior Two. This is going to feel easy now, right? Inhale, come back to the center, lower your arms, bring your back leg forward, give your legs a good shake out. Now we're going to take left leg back. So let's get our alignment just right. Front foot 90 degrees. And your back leg is pointing about 60 degrees forward. Now your back leg's straight and your front knee, let's make both legs straight. Let's start with both legs straight. And let's try to make sure and think about our shoulders being over our hips. So our shoulders aren't over here somewhere or out here. They're right over our hips, right over our hips. Again, if you lift your toes off the floor, you're going to feel really rooted and grounded. Because if you're not grounded, you might just fall over. We don't want that. Bend that front knee. Don't let your torso go forward. Just bend the front knee. Look down and see your big toe inside of your knee. That's going to take some effort. Your adductor muscles, your hamstrings, pressing into the outside of your back foot. Inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height. Fix your gaze over your front right fingers. Look at your front right fingers and lower your shoulders. Lengthen and feel the strength. Your core has to work hard in your standing postures. And lower your back arm down your back leg, and then follow your fingers straight up towards the sky, and then reach and stretch. But you're keeping your front leg bent, your back leg straight, reaching and stretching. Keep your legs as they are. Bring yourself back into warrior two. Shoulders are over your hips, so you're not leaning your torso forward. Bring your front forearm onto your front thigh. So you're going to bend that thigh. You're going to take your back arm. You might want to even follow it as it comes down around in front of you. And then bring it up and over your ear. The palm should face the floor. You should have a line of energy from the outside of your back foot along your body, right out through your arm and your fingertips. You're reaching and you're stretching. Opening your heart center to the side of your mat. Inhaling to straighten the front leg, and then bring your front top arm directly up to the sky. The other arm points towards the floor. So you're in a triangle posture, your front leg is straight, and you're reaching up. Both legs are straight now. Both legs are straight. But you're reaching up. You're maybe even looking up at your arm if you feel balanced. Of course, looking at the floor always helps us with balance. Inhale, sweeping up. Come sideways on your mat now. Arms are out at shoulder height. And your feet are just slightly turned out. Hinge at your hips, the tops of your legs, halfway bending forward, just halfway. Tense your fingers underneath your face. On an inhale, let's sweep the left arm up. Your finger, your left hand, the other hand's tented on the floor. You're feeling a stretch now through the inner thigh, adductor muscle. On the opposite side is your arm. Reaching up, again, you're working your core, your back muscles. Exhale, float down. Inhale, you can think of your core like a cylinder. So sometimes the front muscles are working a little more. In this case, your back muscles, the back of the cylinder is working harder than the front, but they are both activated. Reaching up. Exhale, float that arm down. Let's lunge over to the left, bringing bum as close to heel as possible, being mindful if you have any knee issues, but coming down as low as you can to stretch that inner thigh. Your feet do need to be pretty far apart to pull this off. Inhaling up and over to the other side. Back into the center. Walk your feet in towards one another. Keep your knees soft. Let your knuckles just drag on the floor. Please give your head, your neck, a little bit of a shake. You might have created some tension with focusing. And then slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Give your legs a bit of a shake out. And then I just want to talk about balance for a moment. That's something that is really key as we age, is maintaining balance. So things you can do when you're not even doing yoga. You know, maybe you're walking around your house. If you want to walk on your heels, walk on your toes. These are all great ways to improve your balance, which is super important as we age. So because we all love our trees, let's pay a little bit of homage to the gorgeous trees. I particularly liking the naked ones and the dead ones because I love seeing what the branches are doing. Okay, so balance first on your right foot. Now there's a couple options here, of course. If you don't feel like, you know, balance is going to be easy for you today, just come up onto the ball of your foot and bring your sole of your foot right into your ankle. And if you focus your gaze about 8 inches in front of you and kind of block out anything around you, really focus on the floor. Now, maybe you can bring it into your calf, maybe. And then maybe, and if your pants aren't slippery, so that's why I'm holding my ankle. Okay, give it a shake out. Let's try the other side. And then we'll come into our favorite posture. And yes, you know, Gwyn is standing on the floor. It just always reminds me, for some reason, it can be easier on the floor. So if you were struggling or you just want to give it a try, come off your mats, come onto your floor, and see if it might be just a little bit easier. So if you know you've already got the flexibility, you can start. The place you don't want to press is on your knee. So anywhere above or below the knee is fine. And some days balancing just doesn't happen, and other days, no problemo. Excellent. Take a sip of water. If you don't have an iPad cover and you want to grab one, and I'll tell you why, that iPad cover, or even if you have a piece of clothing, you can put that over your eyes. Putting a little, or you can place your hands over your eyes, although I want your hands to be doing something else in a moment. So use a tissue between the iPad and your eyes, if you would, please. Is that when we put pressure on the ocular nerves and muscles, it starts to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic is your fight and flight or flight, and we spend a little bit too much time. I mean, I don't know how many people are in their parasympathetic when they're driving or taking the subway or even in an Uber. You know, it's all pretty intense these days. So it's really important that we pay attention and do what we can to try to balance the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So eyes are closed. I didn't mention this, but if your lower back is uncomfortable on the floor, you can bend your knees and place the soles of your feet flat on the floor if your legs aren't comfortable. The other thing to do is to take your blocks and place them right up against your butt and let your thighs, the top of the backs of your thighs, rest on your blocks. Whatever position you're in, just for a moment, have your arms out at your side, far enough away that your shoulder blades and your shoulders are being supported and relaxing on the floor. Tilt your chin in towards the notch of your neck. And just observe your breathing for a moment. Observe what is moving without controlling. And then if you're willing, place one of your hands on your belly, so below your waist, and place the other hand on your chest. And I want us to remember what it's like to breathe like a baby. If you have a chance to observe a baby, you'll notice their bellies fill, they expand, rise, and then fall. So with one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly, you may not even notice your chest moving at all. And I'm just going to do something in a moment to demonstrate the point that if we're not breathing into our bellies, we might be in a hyper state of stress, because when we are not filling the bottom of our lungs, where all the little tiny alveoli are, where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide take place, that then enter into the bloodstream to oxygenate every cell in our body and to take the carbon dioxide back into the lungs, where we can expel it as we exhale. Now, what I want you to do is keep your hands where they are, and I want you to just focus on breathing into the top part of your lungs, just the top upper part. So your belly is not going to rise. Just breathing into the top part of the lungs, just the chest, upper chest. Now observe how short this breath is. That's how little oxygen you're getting in. And then let's just, as we finish up, revert to deeply breathing all the way down and filling the bottom of the lungs, which applies pressure to your diaphragm, which pushes the belly up. That's what's really going on. And exhale and letting the belly fall. So if there's one thing you could take away from this class today and be mindful of, especially if you feel that you'd like to reduce the amount of stress you have. I mean, you're not going to get rid of it, all of our stress. Being alive has its stressors. But we need to be aware that stress is detrimental to our health, our well-being, our bodies, and our minds. So release your hands to the side just for a moment again. Palms are facing up in the open and receiving position. I want you to lift your legs and drop them uncontrollably a couple of times. Arms, bum and hip, upper back, and then gently roll your head to one side, into the center, other side, back into the center, and just observe for 10 seconds now how you feel. And another tip that I just want to offer to you, because it's hard to take away everything from any one class, but if you find your mind is racing about this, that, or the other thing, I have to remind myself this. Down at the bottom of your exhalation, once you've let all the air out, stay there for a moment. All air out. Don't breathe in. Your mind cannot have a thought. You are going to breathe in again, and then mind might start to crank up again. But remember, at the bottom of your exhalation, if you pause, no thought, no thinking. Okay. You can roll over onto your side, or you can use your hands to roll back up into a seated position. And let's just take a moment. If you're able to, grab a block or a cushion and just sitting up straight, placing your hands on your thighs, lengthen your spine. And if you want to join me in chanting Om just once, inhale together. Om. Om Shanti. Peace. Namaste. Thank you so much. Have a great day.